Imagine doing a 2-hour show, then doing it again 4 hours later, and then maybe one more time after that. That's not a rock star fantasy, that's just a Tuesday for a lot of event performers. Most people think stamina is just about being in shape, but it's actually closer to being a really well-organized machine. Your cardiovascular system, your muscles, your sleep schedule, and even your lunch all have to be running the same software. Here's the wild part nobody talks about. A single 1-hour performance can burn anywhere from 500 to over 1,000 calories, depending on what you're doing. That's basically running a 10-kilometer race, while also having to remember choreography and smile at strangers. So performers train specifically for the pattern of stress, not just the stress itself. It's called interval training, and it basically means you practice going hard, recovering fast, and going hard again, which sounds simple until your legs file a formal complaint around minute 40. Nutrition is where things get really interesting, because the wrong meal at the wrong time can absolutely wreck a show. Eating a giant plate of pasta 2 hours before you go on sounds dreamy until your body decides digestion is the main event. Most seasoned performers eat small, high-energy meals throughout the day rather than 3 big ones. Think of it like fueling a sports car instead of a school bus, where a little high-octane stuff goes a long way and too much at once just slows everything down. Hydration is basically the boring superhero of the whole operation. You can train for months, nail your nutrition, get perfect sleep, and then one dry afternoon under stage lights can make you feel like a raisin in a tuxedo. Between shows, the smartest performers treat the gap like a pit stop, not a break room. They're not scrolling their phones for 45 minutes, they're doing light stretching, eating something small, and mentally resetting so the next audience doesn't get the exhausted leftovers. Sleep is the one thing that can't really be hacked or replaced, and a lot of touring performers will tell you that's the hardest part of the whole lifestyle. When you're working weekends and events run late and loadout takes forever, getting 8 hours starts to feel like a conspiracy theory. Some performers use something called periodization, which is a fancy way of saying they plan when to push hard and when to ease off throughout their training week. It sounds like something an Olympic athlete would do, and honestly it is, it's just that now magicians and face painters are doing it too. The mental stamina piece is just as real as the physical side, because smiling authentically at your 500th guest of the day requires a completely different kind of endurance. Performers talk about building what some call a performance persona, a kind of mental costume they put on that helps them stay present even when their feet are screaming. One underrated trick is learning the specific rhythm of each venue and event type, because a 3-show day at a theme park, it's completely different than 3 shows at a private corporate event. Knowing when the energy peaks, when crowds thin out, and when you'll get a real break helps you pace yourself instead of sprinting a marathon. A lot of this knowledge doesn't come from a textbook, it comes from doing the job repeatedly until your body figures out the patterns on its own. The best performers basically become scientists of their own weird little ecosystem, tweaking variables until the whole system runs smoothly. Here's the honest truth though. There's no perfect formula, and every performer's body responds differently to training, food, and rest. What works for a high-energy DJ doing 3 raves might completely fail a classical violinist doing back-to-back weddings. If you want to go deeper on how event vendors and performers make the whole show machine work, check out our links in the description to learn more about what our company does.